Hello once again. We are Leon Organo.
And I am LOA Timber. This is an original idea under the direction of Epst Nestor Leon. Our program is developed for intellectual purposes and training for our channel, NestoryChannel. We give you the warmest welcome and invite you to stay until the end. In this new episode, we will discuss a topic of great interest.
And we start. So I want you to imagine for a second that you're reading this groundbreaking medical paper, like something that could fundamentally change how your doctor treats a heart condition.
Right, something super important.
Exactly. And, the methodology looks totally flawless. The data charts are compelling. The bibliography is incredibly dense. I mean, it's citing dozens of prior studies to prove this new treatment is safe. But, and this is the crazy part, there's this hidden catch.
A pretty massive catch, yeah.
Yeah. Some of those foundational studies, the ones cited right there in the footnotes, they never actually happened. They were just dreamed up out of thin air by a chatbot.
Which is just terrifying to think about.
It really is. So today we are taking you into the center of a massive paradigm shift in the world of science. We've got this huge stack of recent research papers in front of us covering, well, everything from strict medical guidelines in the Cosin Medical Journal to this massive audit of millions of academic papers.
Millions. It's a huge data set.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive is to explore this ultimate double-edged sword of artificial intelligence in scientific research. Because we're going to look at how AI is actively polluting the permanent scientific record with completely fabricated data.
But also, and this is the bizarre twist, it's simultaneously becoming the greatest tool we've ever invented for making complex science actually understandable for the public.
Yeah, the paradox of this technology is just staggering to me. I mean, we're watching this tool act as a toxic contaminant in the back end of knowledge production, but then on the front end...
On the front end, it's this brilliant translator. It's wild. But, to understand the urgency here, we really have to look at the raw numbers first. Like, how pervasive is this contamination in published research?
Well, let's be clear. We aren't just talking about a high school kid using ChatGPT to, fudge a history essay.
Oh, no, not at all.
We are talking about the highest levels of scientific publishing. Researchers just did this massive audit of 2.5 million papers.
2.5 million. Just wrap your head around that scale.
Right. And they looked across all these major academic repositories. So for context, some of these are preprint servers, places like ArcGlaf, BioArcGlaf, SSRN, which basically means anyone can upload their draft research before it gets formally checked by other scientists.
Right. The Wild West of science, basically.
Exactly. But they didn't just stop there. They also audited PubMed Central, which is like the gold standard database of final, officially peer-reviewed literature. And they were tracking something called unmatched citations.
And just to clarify for everyone, unmatched citations are basically, well, they're citations pointing to research papers that simply do not exist.
Like anywhere.
Anywhere, not in the physical world, not in the digital world, they are phantoms. And the timeline of what they found is honestly the most telling part.
Yeah, break that down for us, because the timeline is nuts.
Okay, so starting in mid-2024, which is roughly 18 months after the big public release of large language models like ChatGPT, there is this unprecedented spike in these hallucinated citations.
Just a massive hockey stick graph.
Exactly. And if you follow that trajectory, the conservative estimate, mind you, for the year 2025 alone, is a staggering 146,932 hallucinated, completely fake citations entering the scientific record.
Wait, over 140,000 fake citations in a single year?
In just 1 year, yeah.
I have to pause here because the scale of that failure is just mind-blowing. I mean, the entire foundation of the scientific method is rigorous peer review, right?
Yeah.
So how on earth are 140,000 fake citations slipping past the supposedly smartest people in the room?
It's a great question.
Because the reviewers are supposed to be the gatekeepers.
They are. But to understand why the gatekeepers are failing, we have to look at how large language models actually work. Like an LLM doesn't have a built-in truth filter. It's not a database of facts.
Right, it's just predicting words.
Exactly. At its core, it's a highly advanced predictive text engine. So when a researcher asks an AI to, say, format a bibliography or suggest supporting literature, the AI just calculates the statistical probability of which words should follow one another to sound authoritative.
So it just makes up a title that sounds like real science.
Right. It invents a highly plausible sounding title, maybe slaps the name of a real journal on it, and attributes it to a real author. And the result is a citation that looks absolutely perfect to the naked eye.
Wow.
And here's the crucial part. Researchers aren't usually generating papers where all 50 references are fake.
Yeah.
The data shows this is a really diffuse contamination.
Meaning they're hidden in the good stuff.
Exactly. You might have a paper with 48 real, highly accurate citations and just 2 completely fabricated ones sparsely embedded right in the middle.
Okay, so it's like slipping counterfeit bills into a thick stack of real money.
That's a perfect analogy, actually.
Right, because if a bank teller or, a peer reviewer in this case, is only spot checking a few $20 bills in this massive stack, the fake ones slip right through because the stack just feels real.
Yeah, the formatting is right, the tone is right, the names are familiar.
Yeah?
And the audit actually confirms that our current safeguard system is just not built to handle this.
Yeah.
You can't manually audit every single line of a bibliography against a global database in real time. The numbers prove it.
What are the numbers on that?
Well, 78.8% of these fake citations are passing straight through preprint moderation.
Nearly 80%.
Yeah. And even more alarming, when they tracked those early drafts all the way to their final peer-reviewed publication in places like PubMed Central, 85.3% of the hallucinations present in the early drafts persisted all the way into the final published record.
So the counterfeit bills are making it all the way into the vault.
They are in the vault, permanently.
Okay, so we have to ask, who is actually slipping these counterfeit bills into the stack? Like, are we seeing senior scientists just getting lazy, or is this coming from somewhere else?
The data points really clearly to small early career teams.
Interesting.
Yeah. The authors citing these fake sources generally have significantly fewer prior publications than their peers. But the catch is, by 2025, the publication output of these specific authors had absolutely skyrocketed.
Of course, because they're using AI to churn them out.
Right. In some fields, their output was up to 3.13 times higher. Generative AI has just dramatically lowered the barrier to entry for drafting papers. So less experienced researchers are producing this massive volume of work, but they lack that deep, granular familiarity with the literature.
So they don't even realize the AI is hallucinating a paper that doesn't exist.
Exactly. They just trust the output.
So we have this explosion of volume, but a really severe degradation of trust. And, scientific citations are basically the ultimate currency of academic success.
Oh, 100%. It's all about citations.
Right. If you get cited, your career advances. You get tenure, you get grant money, prestige, all of it. So if AI is flooding the market with 146,000 fake citations, we really need to know who is inadvertently benefiting from this massive influx of fake currency.
And this is where the underlying mechanics of the AI reveal a deeply structural problem. Because when an AI invents a plausible-sounding paper, it has to assign an author to it, right?
Yeah, it needs a name to make it look legit.
Right. And to do that, it pulls from its training data. And the audit found that these models disproportionately assign this unearned credit to researchers who are already highly productive and highly cited.
Oh, wow. So it's the Matthew effect.
Exactly. It's a textbook demonstration of the Matthew effect in sociology. The rich get richer.
That makes total sense. The AI is essentially running a predictive text popularity contest. Like, it doesn't actually know who researches quantum physics or oncology.
No, it has no clue.
It just runs the math and guesses the most science-sounding names based on millions of texts it scraped from the internet. And because historical literature is filled with prominent scientists who have been cited thousands of times, the algorithm just spits those exact same names back out.
Yep. It creates this massive algorithmic echo chamber. And honestly, that echo chamber has a very specific demographic bias.
Oh, I can guess where this is going.
Yeah. Historically, the most prominent names in those massive training data sets are male. And the audit explicitly tracked this. They found a severe impact on gender recognition inequality.
Oh, really? How bad is the skew?
Hallucinated citations disproportionately credit authors with male names. We are seeing a 6.4 percentage point shift toward male names, which actually translates to a 7.6% relative increase.
Wow. So the mathematics of the AI are actively reinforcing these historical inequities.
Exactly. By relying on historical probabilities, the AI just systematically leaves marginalized researchers out of its guessing game entirely.
And also completely scrambles the way scientists organize their own credit, right? Because usually there's a very strict hierarchy in a scientific paper.
Oh, very strict.
Like, the first author is usually the person who did the hands-on work in the lab, and the last author listed is the senior investigator, like the boss who secured the funding.
Right, but the algorithm has zero comprehension of the social structure of a laboratory. So in these AI hallucinated citations, that traditional first-last author hierarchy is 12 percentage points weaker.
It's just throwing names at the wall.
Pretty much. It just strings together a list of prominent names without any logical relationship to who actually runs the lab. It's fundamentally reshaping academic credit, completely detached from reality.
Okay, let's bring this back to you, the listener, and why this actually matters outside of, university walls. Because it's one thing if a fake citation ends up in some abstract theoretical physics paper. Like, okay, a grad student wastes an afternoon looking for a PDF that doesn't exist.
Annoying, but not life-threatening.
Right. But what happens when these AI tools are used to draft medical research? We are talking about the literature that dictates the treatment protocols your doctor uses, the medications you are prescribed, how your private health data is handled.
Yeah, the stakes in clinical medicine change the entire equation. And this is exactly why major organizations like the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors and publications like the COSIN Medical Journal, they have stepped in with these strict, uncompromising guidelines.
And what's their main rule?
Their primary rule is absolute. Under no circumstances can an AI be listed as an author on a scientific paper.
Okay, but I want to push on why that specific rule is the line in the sand. Because, if I use a calculator to do my taxes, the calculator isn't the author of my tax return.
Right, it's just a tool.
Exactly, it's a tool. So how do we practically use a tool that is highly efficient at drafting text, but fundamentally untrustworthy when it comes to facts?
Yeah.
Like, why the total ban on AI authorship?
Because the prohibition against AI authorship is rooted in two deeply human concepts: moral agency and legal accountability.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Well, an algorithm cannot take responsibility for a clinical claim. If a published paper recommends a flawed surgical technique based on an AI hallucination, you can't sue a line of code.
Right, you can't revoke a chatbot's medical license.
Exactly. Therefore, the human must take 100% of the responsibility. And furthermore, there is a massive data privacy risk involved in how these tools operate.
Let's talk about that privacy risk, because these are cloud-based systems, right? They aren't just calculators sitting offline on a hard drive.
Right. Think about it. If a medical researcher takes a spreadsheet of protected health information, say data from an unpublished clinical trial featuring real patients,
Which happens all the time.
all the time, and they feed that into a cloud-based AI system to help summarize the findings, that data is instantly transmitted to external servers.
Oh, man.
That is a direct violation of privacy laws like IPA. That sensitive patient data is now just sitting on a corporate server somewhere. And it could potentially be used to train future iterations of the model, which completely compromises patient anonymity.
Okay, so if the risks are this high, we're talking hallucinated facts, massive privacy violations, skewed academic credit, why not just ban AI in scientific research entirely? Just outlaw the use of large language models in academia across the board.
Because a total ban is operationally unenforceable.
Really? Even with AI detectors?
The tools we have to detect AI-generated text are notoriously unreliable. They produce way too many false positives. Sometimes they flag entirely human-written work as AI.
So you'd just be punishing honest scientists.
Exactly. If the journals ban AI outright, they're just going to drive the practice underground. You create this shadow economy of undisclosed AI use. And that is far more dangerous because then you can't track it or mitigate its flaws.
So what's the alternative then?
Instead, the scientific and medical communities are rallying around a concept called human stewardship.
Okay, I have to say, I'm struggling to buy this human stewardship idea. If early career researchers are already so pressed for time that they're letting an AI invent their bibliographies, why on earth would we trust them to voluntarily follow a strict ethical checklist?
It's a fair point.
It sounds completely unenforceable to me. It relies entirely on the honor system.
It does rely heavily on the integrity of the researcher, which is exactly why institutions are aggressively formalizing what human stewardship actually looks like. The literature outlines 5 distinct pillars for the ethical integration of AI.
Okay, walk me through the pillars. Let's look at this through the workflow of, say, a young medical researcher writing a paper.
Perfect. So first, they must implement task segmentation. This means the human researcher does the heavy lifting, the interpretation of the data, the synthesis of concepts, the actual scientific discovery.
And the
AI is restricted strictly to mechanical tasks, like translating the text into fluent English or formatting the document.
Got it. So the AI is a copy editor, not a co-investigator.
Precisely. Moving to the second pillar, rigorous validation. Our hypothetical researcher must treat every single piece of AI-generated text as a highly suspicious draft.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Exactly. They have to manually verify every single citation against a trusted, real-world database like PubMed.
Yeah.
They cannot just assume the AI is telling the truth.
Which is exactly why those 140,000 fake citations exist, right? Because people are skipping this exact step.
Yes. They skip validation and the fakes slip through. Now, the third pillar addresses your Hype A concern, data sovereignty.
How does that work? How do you use the tool without uploading patients' medical history?
All patient data must be strictly anonymized before it ever touches an AI prompt. No names, no specific dates, no identifying markers.
Makes sense.
The fourth pillar is archival transparency. When the researcher submits the paper, they should actually publish the specific prompts they used to generate the text.
Well, that's smart. That'll allow peer reviewers to see exactly how the tool was utilized.
Exactly. It ensures the process can be reproduced. And finally, the fifth pillar, methodological citation. The researcher does not list the AI as a co-author. Instead, they cite it in the methodology section as a software tool, the exact same way they would cite a statistical analysis software.
So you acknowledge the tool's presence, you're transparent about its function, but you do not grant it human agency.
You nailed it.
Well, we've established a very grim picture here. I mean, AI is dangerously polluting the back end of scientific production. It's fundamentally threatening the academic record if it's not strictly managed by these pillars of human stewardship. But, and this is where it gets crazy here, is the massive unexpected twist in the sources we're looking at. Yes. While AI is a disastrously unreliable researcher, it turns out it is an absolute genius at science communication.
This is truly the central paradox of AI in science right now. I mean, let's acknowledge the messy reality here. Human scientists, particularly those highly specialized experts, they often struggle terribly to communicate their findings to everyday people.
Yeah, they suffer from the curse of knowledge. They just fill their writing with dense jargon that completely alienates the public.
Exactly. But a recent study looked at summaries of complex papers published in PNAS, the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. They took the human-written summaries and compared them to summaries generated by GPT-4.
And the results were incredible. The AI was able to take these incredibly dense academic abstracts and more than double their linguistic simplicity.
Double it. That's huge.
And when they tested this on everyday readers, the results just flipped our expectations upside down. The readers who read the AI-generated summaries comprehended the science significantly better. And because the text was clearer and easier to understand, the public perceived the scientists who supposedly wrote it as more credible and trustworthy.
And you want to know the ultimate irony of that study?
What?
Readers routinely assumed that the complex, jargon-heavy summaries written by the actual human scientists were generated by a machine.
No way.
Yes, simply because they felt so robotic, dense, and impenetrable. AI is built on natural language processing, right? It is specifically designed to predict what sounds natural, fluent, and conversational to a human ear.
So it bridges the gap between the ivory tower of academia and the general public. In a way human scientists have literally struggled to do for decades.
Exactly.
You know, I want to upgrade an analogy here. Let's look at AI as a restaurant employee.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Right now, AI is a terrible head chef.
Right.
If you put it in the kitchen to invent a new dish, it throws in fake ingredients, it hallucinates citations, and it poisons the meal with historical gender bias.
Why?
Why? Because it has no taste buds.
Right, it doesn't actually know what true or false tastes like?
Exactly. It just throws ingredients together that statistically belong in a recipe.
Yeah.
But AI is an incredible waiter. It's a language machine. It knows how to talk to the customer, it can read the room, and make the menu sound appetizing.
That is so true.
So if the human chef cooks the meal and hands it to the AI waiter, the AI can go out to the dining room and explain the complex menu to the public perfectly. The very tool that is threatening the integrity of the scientific record is simultaneously the best tool we have ever invented for explaining science to the world.
The waiter versus chef dynamic captures the landscape perfectly. AI is an interface, not an oracle. When we ask it to generate new facts from scratch, it fails, sometimes spectacularly, and pollutes our shared knowledge. But when we ask it to translate existing, verified facts into accessible language, it excels.
So the grand challenge for the scientific community over the next decade is basically going to be keeping the AI out of the kitchen while utilizing its translation skills in the dining room.
Absolutely.
The implications of this are massive for anyone who relies on scientific truth. I mean, we are watching this scientific ecosystem be fundamentally rewritten in real time.
Hmm.
On one hand, AI is breaking down the walls of academia, making complex health and science information accessible to everyone. It's democratizing scientific literacy.
Which is a beautiful thing.
It is.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's quietly contaminating the academic record. With over 140,000 counterfeit citations a year, worsening gender inequality among researchers, and creating massive privacy risks.
Yeah.
The only way we survive this paradigm shift without losing our grip on objective truth is through rigorous human stewardship. We cannot abdicate our responsibility to a machine.
And if we fail at that stewardship, the consequences compound in a way that goes far beyond just a few bad papers. I actually want to spend a moment unpacking a chilling concept that arises from this data.
Okay, lay it on me.
We know that these 146,000 hallucinated citations are slipping through peer review, but they don't just sit in a vacuum on a dusty library shelf. Once they are published in places like PubMed Central, they are immediately indexed into major global digital databases like Google Scholar.
Okay.
They become part of the permanent digital fabric of the internet.
They become the new foundational reality.
Precisely. Now think about how the next generation of large language models like ChatGPT-5, ChatGPT-6, how will they be built? They are trained by scraping the internet.
Oh, no.
What happens when the AI of 2028 scrapes Google Scholar and ingests the 146,000 fake citations generated by the AI of 2025?
The machine is training on its own hallucinations. The feedback loop just closed.
It is a phenomenon known as model collapse, or synthetic data degradation. The AI begins to consume its own corrupted exhaust. If the internet is composed of 5% or 10% hallucinated scientific citations, the AI's foundational understanding of reality is permanently corrupted.
That is wild.
Are we permanently poisoning the well of human knowledge? I mean, if future models are trained on fabricated data, the AI will begin to generate conclusions based on studies that never existed, compounding the error exponentially.
Wow.
It becomes nearly impossible to untangle what is a verified human discovery and what is a statistical hallucination born from a previous algorithm.
That concept is genuinely terrifying. I mean, it's the ultimate race between the speed of technological adoption and the integrity of human oversight. Will our systems of human stewardship evolve fast enough to build a reliable filter, or will the well become just too toxic to drink from?
It's the multi-billion-dollar question.
It really all comes down to whether the scientific community can enforce that vital step of rigorous validation before the digital record is completely overwhelmed.
And it places an immense burden not just on the scientists writing the papers, but on the institutions funding them and the journals publishing them. The architecture of scientific trust has to be totally rebuilt to account for a tool that lies fluently.
That is a thought that will absolutely keep me up at night. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the dual nature of AI in science. We really hope this exploration empowers you to look at the research you read, the medical news you hear, and the tools you use every day with a sharper, more critical eye. Because the responsibility for truth still rests firmly on our human shoulders. Keep questioning the information you consume, stay curious, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.